Secret codes. Every Doomsday teaser ends the same way. The screen hangs for a beat on a weird little string of letters and numbers. Then there's a countdown clock that ticks towards December 18th, 2026. Now, this pause on that code feels deliberate, especially after the Russo brothers basically dared everyone to look closer. They literally put an Instagram post saying that the last 4 trailers aren't just teasers, but they're actually clues to look into. So fans did exactly that. The biggest theory says that those strings are hidden timestamps for older MCU movies. For example, if we look at the latest teaser showing the Wakandans and the Fantastic Four, the code shows as 1 hour 4 minutes 20 seconds. Now, if we consider this timestamp in Infinity War, we see that Tony Stark says one word, and that word is Doctor. And yeah, if Marvel wanted to plant Doom in plain sight, that's literally the kind of wink they'd use. Now, that's the angle of Avengers Infinity War. Let's look at the timestamps for Avengers Endgame. The first Steve Rogers teaser shows a timestamp of 1 hour and 24 minutes. This scene in Endgame is Hulk speaking to the Ancient One during the time heist. The Ancient One warns Bruce that removing an Infinity Stone creates a branched reality that can lead to darkness and suffering. Even if we look at the second Thor teaser, the timestamp of 1 hour and 17 minutes takes us to a scene where Loki steals the Tesseract and escapes. This creates a variant timeline. Every timestamp from this theory tells us that Doomsday is the direct consequence of the time heist. Every timestamp points to a moment where the Avengers messed with time. This means that Dr. Doom will try to repair or rule the fractured metaverse. I like this timestamp version, but let me know what you guys think. Using kids. One of the craziest Doomsday theories is that Doom's plan will involve children in some way. Fans are looking at the early Doomsday footage and seeing a pattern that feels way too specific to be random. Steve's teaser ends with him holding an infant. Thor's teaser centers on love and his adopted daughter. Then, you throw in the credits scene from the new Fantastic Four movie. In this scene, we see Dr. Doom with baby Franklin. All of these together definitely looks like Marvel's pointing a spotlight at one thing. That one thing being kids. The theory goes like this. Doom's collecting superpowered children across the multiverse. The reason is because he wants to use them as replacements for anchor beings. Because they're young, the idea is he can shape what they believe, steer what they become, and basically build new universes that follow his rules. If we have any Stranger Things fans in the crowd, this should ring a bell. Vecna's whole goal was to use kids as the key to reshaping reality. Doomsday looks like it's jumping across realities, so this kind of plan does fit the scale that Marvel's aiming for. Spiderman Dies. This is the theory that keeps splitting the fandom right now, and I get why. If Marvel wants Doomsday to feel like Infinity War, somebody massive has to go. It's gotta be a name that makes the whole theater go silent. So the debate turns into one question. Does Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man get killed off? The Russos love emotional sacrifices. We saw it in Endgame, and it's the kind that shifts the entire tone of the story. Tobey's Spider-Man also has a full arc. He's already lived the classic journey, learned the hard lessons, and made peace with who he is. That makes him the safest legacy hero to lose, because his story doesn't need another chapter to feel complete. And if Marvel's chasing impact, a heroic Tobey death would hit the hardest. It wouldn't just raise stakes for the characters, it would raise stakes for the audience. But here's the part that makes it feel 50-50. Marvel also knows fans still want more of Tobey. I think that if he shows up early and sticks around for the whole film, that usually means he's safer. If he shows up late, right when the final battle explodes, I think he might be toast. He could have a last-second entrance, a save, then maybe an ultimate sacrifice. Now, we're gonna talk about death theories, but before that, I'd really appreciate if you guys could go down and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps a lot. Doom kills Avengers. Now, besides Spider-Man, other Avengers could also be wiped. This theory exists for one reason. Doomsday needs a Thanos-level gut punch, and Doom needs a moment that instantly proves he's not just another villain. So here's the idea. The movie opens with Dr. Doom absolutely wiping out the Avengers, Spider-Man, Thor, the X-Men, and essentially the whole lineup getting erased like they never mattered. This would be a full massacre, and it'd be fast and brutal. This kind of opening would make the audience wonder how anyone can possibly come back from this. Then the twist hits. Those weren't Earth 616's Avengers. They were actually variant Avengers from another universe. This could actually happen. Doom would get the shock moment without destroying the main characters' arcs. It would establish Doom's threat level immediately, and it sells the multiverse stakes at the same time. If this universe's Avengers can fall that easily, why would the 616 team magically be safer? It also creates the same sick feeling Infinity War created, that sense that the heroes are genuinely outmatched. And if Doom's endgame is becoming something like a god emperor later on, this opening becomes the perfect warning sign. To be honest, I think that some Avengers will die regardless. The likely ones include Red Guardian, most of the X-Men, Ant-Man, and probably Thor too. Steve's role. The first Doomsday teaser doesn't really show much, but the message still hits hard. Steve rides up to a ranch house, walks inside, holds a baby, and the screen says, "Steve Rogers will return." Now, this scene alone feels like Steve will have a much bigger role than just being a side character. Here's the theory that makes the most sense. When Steve went back to return the stones and stayed behind with Peggy, it created a branch reality with consequences. Maybe that branch didn't stay stable. Maybe it sparked an incursion somewhere down the line. This could have caused two realities to collide until one gets wiped out. That's why Doom's arrival feels like it targets Steve emotionally, not just physically. Steve isn't being pulled back because he misses being Captain America. He's being dragged back because his choice might have helped break the multiverse. This means that the one thing he fought for at the end of Endgame might be the first thing Doom threatens. His peaceful life with Peggy and his child could be Doom's target. So Steve's arc in Doomsday isn't about becoming a hero again. It's about being a father, with everything on the line. Is this baby Dr. Doom? Bear with me here. I know it sounds crazy, but Steve Rogers' child could have a much bigger role than expected. The Steve teaser might look simple, but the baby's the real headline. Marvel didn't put Steve holding an infant in the very first Doomsday footage for no reason. Let's dive into who this baby could be. First is James Rogers. In next Avengers Heroes of Tomorrow, James is the son of Captain America and Black Widow. He eventually grows up into a new Captain America-type figure. He could be a next-gen Captain America, someone who's raised around the legacy of the Avengers. If Doomsday wants to push a future wave of heroes, James is a clean template. Second is Ian Rogers. In the comics, Ian's basically a manufactured child tied to Arnim Zola. He ends up being raised into a Captain America legacy figure through a very altered origin. He's a child whose existence might just be to be a bigger chess piece in a war. Now, the far-fetched theory that keeps spreading because it's so insane. What if the baby isn't the future hero? What if the baby is the villain? The idea says this child becomes Victor Von Doom, a baby who was never supposed to exist, born only because Steve stayed behind with Peggy. That branch reality gets devoured in an incursion, and young Victor escapes. Maybe he inherits advanced tech, maybe quantum knowledge passes down, and he grows into the one survivor who blames the Avengers for everything. Doom's origin starts as a mistake, and his entire mission becomes proving he should have been the only future that mattered. Again, it's far-fetched, but interesting to consider. Across the multiverse, the X-Men teaser doesn't show any kids, but it might be the biggest multiverse tell of all 4 clips. What we see in this teaser doesn't line up as one clean timeline. The X-Men history is already a mess. There's time travel, resets, alternate futures, different casts, and different versions of the same characters. In the teaser, we see Professor X dressed like the Days of Future Past version. This already plants us in a very specific branch. Then, Cyclops shows up looking like the most comic-accurate live-action version he's ever had. We see him with a costume vibe that feels closer to X-Men '97 than the older Fox films. And that's the weird part. Those visual choices feel like Marvel mixing eras and universes on purpose. That's where the Secret Wars comparison starts making sense. In the comics, when the multiverse collapses, Dr. Doom takes pieces from different realities and smashes them into one planet called Battleworld. Different versions of characters existing side by side, like when the 3 Spider-Men were in No Way Home. And if Doomsday is the setup, that's the direction this teaser points to. The X-Men could be placed into a bigger multiverse mechanism, where Doom's the one rearranging the board. If Marvel follows the comic blueprint, Doom starts as the guy who saves what's left, then he goes too far. He crowns himself a god, demands worship, and turns Battleworld into his personal empire. The only way to fight back is by crossing dimensions with the Fantastic Four leading the way. Desert War. The fourth teaser feels like the moment the multiverse weirdness crashes into real-world chaos because it looks like a war's about to start before anyone even understands why. In this teaser, we see Ben Grimm meeting Shuri and M'Baku. We also see Wakanda gearing up for something huge. The threat looks like an Atlantean-style army, with Prince Namor at the center. Now, this instantly seems like a land versus sea clash on top of everything else. Or we are in the desert, so maybe Doom somehow wiped all the water out of the land. Now, in the comics, Doom and Namor have this legendary best frenemies relationship. They team up, they almost pull off something catastrophic, but then Doom ends up betraying him. We haven't seen Doom and Namor together yet, but this teaser could set the table up for it. Namor isn't just there for a random battle. He's a perfect piece on Doom's board, a powerful ruler with his own people, his own agenda, and just enough pride to get played. If Doomsday's building toward a supervillain team-up, followed by an inevitable breakup, Namor's the kind of ally Doom would use first, but he would still turn on him at the end. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you all in the next one.